What's a podcast actually worth listening to? History of Rome. After the first few episodes where sound produced and isn't great, it's just like 200 episodes of incredible story of the rise and fall of the entire Roman Empire. The dude knows his shit. Actively will call out his own mistakes during the following episodes when he is wrong. Which isn't often. He tells it in way better than any textbook. He almost never goes off the rails and talks about irrelevant material. And when he does, it's about baseball for like 4 seconds. He enjoys the topic and you can tell. Well, there's your problem. A podcast about engineering disasters. With slides. I listen to 1 or 2 comedy podcasts, but none of them make me laugh as hard or as often as ~2. Civil engineers from Philly proud sons of Philly and a posh British woman discussing engineering and societal disasters. Edit. Only Roz is a civil engineer. Liam is a finance major because he's a good boy. This is kind of new, but check out If Books Could Kill. 2 guys discuss and analyze best-selling nonfiction books that could use a good dissection like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Secret. Well-researched and super funny and interesting. Love it. No such thing as a fish. Funny while being somewhat educational. Darknet Diaries. Hardcore history. What made you realize you're old? Music that I listened to as a kid being played on the oldies radio station. At 44 I don't feel old, but when I'm going to do something nowadays I think about it if I could get hurt. Doing nothing became my favorite thing to do on the weekend. When celebrities would come on late night shows and they looked so much older. Then I would think, I guess I do too. Quote. I was reading Rolling Stone at the doctor's office and realized I hardly knew any of the bands on the Billboard #1 singles list. 90s music to my kids is like what 60s music was to me. I recently saw a Reddit post about things that were popular 25 years ago and I thought about the 80s until I saw a comment that pointed out that we are talking about 1998. I also then realized that I am older than 25. I also recently used the phrase 20 years ago when I was talking to a friend. That hit different. What are the most useful browser extensions that nobody's heard of? If you're using a VPN, then the Vital extension is very helpful. It can spoof your location data, time zone, language, etc. to match your VPN location. https chrome.google.com/webstore/details/vital-spoof-timezone-geol/ncbknufjmcfnepkpmkblanokb. Unpaywall is super helpful if you access a lot of science journals, etc. Sponsor block so you don't have to listen to your favorite YouTuber try to sell you NordVPN. Recipe filter. It cuts out all the bullshit text and gives you just the actual recipe on food sites. uBlock Organ. It seems like everyone I talk to has no concept of an ad blocker in 2023. CRX Mouse Chrome. It lets you right-click, then move the mouse in a gesture to navigate. For example, I right-click and drag left. It goes back a page. Right-click. Right is forward a page. Right-click. Up then down reloads. You can set different gestures to do all kinds of things. I found it back in the day on Firefox as Fire Gestures, and have been using it or another similar extension ever since. Also, the Reddit promoted ad blocker, no Jesus. You don't get me and I'm not wasting my time with your ads. What high-paying jobs contribute very little to society, humanity? As a marketing manager, I can tell you I have one of the most useless jobs in the world. My sister makes a lot of money in real estate. She helps rich people get even more rich. Hospital administration. Obviously, hospitals are important and are complicated systems that need proper management. But any doctor, nurse, etc., can tell you that hospital admins aren't exactly looking out for your health and safety. During the pandemic, didn't you notice that the essential workers were often paid minimum wage? Seems like the important jobs that actually keep everything running are not being paid much at all. Most of the time, all the value of their labor is being sucked out of them by the wealthy moochers who just happen to own the company but never do any work. Some of the best paid people are figuring out how to collect as much data about you as possible to show you the best adverts, or how to shave off milliseconds off a trading decision and build better arbitrage strategies to buy and sell the same thing millions of times. IT middle management. I always thought they did nothing. Then I was promoted to one and now I can actually confirm it. Do nothing. Contribute nothing. Worthless. What animal would you say is the closest to a Pokemon? Axolotl. Mantis shrimp. The punch of a mantis shrimp is incredibly powerful. Despite being only a few inches long, it has been demonstrated to deliver a strike with the equivalent power of a bullet fired from a gun. A mantis shrimp punch delivers a 2,000-pound force and an acceleration of 335,000 feet per second. That's about the same as a bullet hitting a man. A mantis shrimp punch can also boil water. That sounds like a Pokédex entry to me. A platypus. Think about it. When you describe this hodgepodge of an animal, it sounds made up. Electric eel. The pangolin is basically sand shrew. Tardigrade. Subscribe, my brothers.